This is not a one-off.
Right. These are in two parts. There's an actual transcript, and then there's a summary of the rest. Here's what's news in the summary. Nobody died until 5:13 in the morning when the SWAT team entered. Prior to that, no one had been killed.
That is not according to the official narrative. That's nothing close to what the people have been told. We were told that Omar Mateen burst into the Pulse nightclub with an AR-15 and began blasting people, that he herded people into the bathroom. He was shooting people. And Judge Napolitano, who read the transcript, said nobody was shot until 5:13 a.m. What in the world is going on?
So Judge Napolitano, he's citing the official report, the official FBI transcripts, which were released Monday. And, again, what he mentioned, the news there is that no one died in the official report until 5:03 to 5:13, the actual breach into the Pulse nightclub.
But what about the survivors who were talking about all the shooting that was taking place at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning? People laid on the floor and bled to death.
We deserve to hear the 911 audio. The American people deserve to hear the 911 audio to discern fact from fiction.
There is a big stinking lie in this story. Somebody's lying. And it's not Judge Napolitano.
Previously, we reported on how Broadcastify, the world's largest emergency audio archive streaming service, was missing the emergency audio archives for the morning of June 12th between the hours of 12 and 3 a.m. Eastern. And it wasn't just Orlando. The archives were missing for the entire southeastern U.S. In an official statement, Broadcastify CEO Lindsay C. Blanton III said the archives were missing due to a mysterious server outage, and even emphasized that neither he nor his company erased the archives on the day which has now become the worst mass shooting in U.S. history. Upon further investigation, however, True News discovered that Broadcastify hosts all their web services through Amazon, which shows no such outage on their detailed server status history page for anywhere in the U.S. on June 12th. At the time, True News asked the question, who has the capability to erase these archives? The FBI? The CIA? The military? True News has now unearthed a groundbreaking revelation in this mystery. Speaking with the official spokesman for St. Lucie County Sheriff Ken Mascara yesterday, True News has learned that not only is the sheriff under a gag order by the FBI regarding the Orlando massacre and Omar Mateen, but the FBI has also requisitioned the 911 dispatch audio for their ongoing investigation, making it physically unavailable to the public and the media. Though a partial timeline and transcript was released yesterday by the FBI, based on True News' analysis of the transcript on the Monday, June 20th edition of the program, there are clearly many questions still unanswered. If the initial publishment of the redacted 911 audio transcript has taught us nothing else, it's that it appears our government is attempting to control reality.
Norman Cassiano was shot inside the nightclub, hiding with others inside a crowded bathroom stall when the gunman walked in and started shooting. Norman was just discharged from the hospital on Monday and spoke with us moments ago.
We'll talk about a remarkable recovery. That story we just showed you, Norman, the 26-year-old who was out celebrating with his friends, is now been discharged from the hospital. And Norman, I can't even imagine what you have been through the last 24 hours. You are finally out of the hospital. And your injuries, you were shot 4 times.
Yes. 2 of them are here. And then the other 2 are on the exact same side, but on my left side.
Hi, I'm Deborah Acosta, a reporter with the New York Times, and I'm here with Norman Cassiano, who survived the shooting on Sunday. Reporter Jack Healy joins me as well.
Hi, Norman was released from the hospital at about 5:30 this afternoon. He was shot in the back twice, and he is here to tell us a little bit about his story, what happened in the nightclub, and about the experience that he walked away from.
Okay, so take us back to that night. You were about to call Uber, you were about to leave the bar when the shots rang out, and you managed to get to a bathroom.
Yes.
Tell me what happened next.
Once I heard the first 2 shots, I knew that it wasn't music, and I automatically just got as low to the floor as I could and crawled my way to the bathroom and went into the biggest stall they had. And once I got in there, there was already about 20 people hiding and just lined up against the walls. And I just like military style crawled to the bathroom. Once I got into the stall, there was already about 10 people. And then another swarm came with me. We closed the door and we all just started huddling together for safety. And we like do a military crawl over to the bathroom and we hide inside of the stall. Inside the stall there was like about already like 20 people, and then
I cannot even imagine. And then the gunman came into the bathroom.
Actually, a victim made his way into the bathroom first. I guess he was trying to get away, and he had gotten hit already.
And so he was following that person into the bathroom?
The moment the shooter came in and
then you were
fired
hit.
another, well, at that moment he fired another shot at the gentleman who was on the floor.
And killed him?
Yes. A gentleman stumbles into the bathroom, collapses in front of the stall door, and he's bleeding everywhere, and he's begging to come inside the stall. We're trying to get him in, but he wouldn't fit underneath. And honestly, 5 seconds passed by, and the assailant came in and shot him one last time. And I tried calling 911, and it wouldn't go through. Then I call my mother, because I'm like, if this is it, I need to speak to my family. So I call my mom, and the service is iffy in the bathroom, I guess, so she didn't hear me. I mean, I couldn't hear her, but she could hear me. I'm like, Mom, 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 and then the call just dropped. So at that moment in time, a young man is stumbling into the bathroom. We think it's the assailant, and we see that it's not, because he like slammed into the door and just drops. And he's facing down, and he's bleeding a lot. And he's trying to get into the stall, but it's so packed that we couldn't open the door, and I'm trying to pull him from underneath, and he was in too much pain. And I just hear one solid gunshot, and you see the boy just completely, like, you saw the life just leave him. At that moment, he then rang fire on the stall. And when he rang the first shots, that's when I got hit on my right side. And I automatically knew, like, it was real. My phone was dying because I wasn't expected to be there that long. So my father was able to pick up, and the only thing I was able to put out with the last few seconds of my phone was, Mom, Dad, I've been shot. You know, I love you guys, and then the phone hung up. I call my family, my phone's dying, so I had no chance of really being able to talk to them. I hear my dad's voice, and I'm just like, Dad, I've been shot. He shot me in the back, and my phone turns off. At that moment in time, I call my dad, because my mom's phone dropped, so I'm like, maybe I could call Dad. I call Dad, he answers, and he's frantic. He's like, what's going on, what's going on? All I'm able to get out is, Dad, I've been shot. He shot me. And the call drops. Yeah, then grabbed the gun and shot over the top of the stall. And that's when I got hit on this side.
And you said he didn't speak, but he was laughing?
He laughed once when he shot the gentleman in the front. He laughed. And as he's laughing, that's when he fires through the whole front of the stall, like just free fired, not knowing where he was shooting. And that's when I got my first wound, my first 2 wounds. He put his gun over the top of the stall and just willy-nilly fired, and that's when I got this side. At that point, I guess everything, we all just were in such shock that we all just collapsed and stopped talking. At that point, he starts shooting at the stall, just firing at free will. Without a doubt, just firing. That's when I got my first wound. And he put his hand over the stall. That's when I was able to see. And then he just started shooting. At that point, I turned like this to like try to get away from the front where the gun was, but it was too late, and it had hit me on this side. Then I guess just the screaming died down, and everyone either fainted or was no longer responsive, and it was almost like everyone agreed to play dead. Like everyone just dropped and stopped making noise.
You're shot. How did you get out of that bathroom stall?
I honestly don't even know where the courage and the strength came from, because I was by the time I was thinking of leaving, I was already shot on this side. When he shot on this side the second time, everyone just immediately got quiet, and I fell to the floor, because at that moment, that's when your body realizes you've been shot twice. To then get on the sink, and I had to pull myself up over the stall wall, and it had like a space this big, so I just pushed myself, and I literally just landed on the floor. And then I heard more gunshots, so I scooted over and hid under the sink. I poked my head out, and it's dark, so the police didn't know what was going on, anything, and they fired. I then pulled back.
Oh my goodness, right.
I started screaming and yelling, I'm a victim, and they shined the flashlight. They're like, just, if you're a victim, just show us your hands and just run out as fast as possible. So that's what I did. I went onto the sink to then climb over. At that point, I put my hands in the air, waved them to the cops. They came, got me, and just brought me straight out to a stretcher and an ambulance. We climbed on top of the sink, and I grabbed the top of the wall, the stall wall, the ones that block everything. And there's like a gap like this big, and I just pulled myself over, and I remember I just let myself fall, which hurt even more. And then I hear guns, so I hide. I grab like this cabinet type thing that they had, or a trash can. I don't even really remember what it was, but it was something big. I grab it and I hide in the corner. I poke my head out really quick, because at that point I could see flashlights. I guess they thought he was still in that area, because it was dark. They never got to turn the lights on. None of that ever got to happen. So I poked my head out, and the police actually shot at me with an AR-15, like an actual rifle. Victim, I'm a victim, please, I'm hurt, I'm injured, I've been shot twice. And that's when you heard the cop kind of tone it down, and he shined the light, and he's like, if you're a victim, come out with your hands in the air and hurry, because the guy's still in the building. I put my hands out like this, and I'm just waving them, and I come out, and he's like, hurry, hurry, hurry. They all grab me, and we start walking, run out the exit, and they escort me to behind a SUV type thing, and they lay me down. And at that point, the adrenaline just started going away, and the pain started hitting. And there was a girl that like I said, I called her my guardian angel. I'd never met her. I didn't even get a last name. I sat down, and she was with her family, and she's like, I remember I laid down on her lap, and I just put my head back, and it felt amazing. I was calm. I had no pain. I was just like, oh, I'm good. I'm not hurt. I'm good. I can just wait. He's like, are you good there? And I'm like, yeah. And I closed my eyes. Next thing I know, a paramedic, a cop, they're moving my face. They're like, you can't close your eyes. Don't let him close his eyes. Don't close his eyes. They poured water on me. Like, they did their best to get me back into panic mode, because he's just let me lay on my stomach. They're like, you have an injury on your spine, and we don't know how bad it is. So then they put me in the emergency vehicle. I started screaming. I threw up, and it sounds crazy, but I don't really care. I ended up urinating myself, like I let go of everything. I couldn't control any type of anything that was happening. I was screaming, I was shaking. Once they calmed me down as much as they could, I was just breathing heavy, like, and they're like, you need to calm down. I understand what you're going through, but you need to calm down. So then they put me in a room, and they gave me a shot, which was like a sedative to like make me tone down. At that point, I toned down, and there was people who were more injured than I was. So they gave us tags. Mine was a yellow, which meant I'm injured enough, but there's other people that need the attention faster. And next thing you know, again, like I said, it was really fast. But for me, that whole first step took 4 hours to me. But by 3 o'clock in the morning, I was already in a comfortable bed. They were taking me to a room, and they're like, are you in pain? I say a number. I'm like, 10. Have you called my parents? To the point where they had the chaplain come in. He took my phone number down. He called my parents. He was able to pass me the phone. I made no sense. And they took us all into a room, and honestly, I've never been hospitalized like that, and it was the best experience I was like in a 5-star hotel. They were bringing me food, water, giving my parents soda.
And when you finally got to the hospital,
I honestly, when I got here, I was so in shock that I don't remember a lot until the next morning when I woke up again and I was medicated and feeling better.
and I know obviously you've been through so much. I don't know if you've heard, but this is now the worst mass shooting in U.S. history. No doubt. Your story, though, people are calling you a miracle, a survivor.
What an unbelievable story. Thank you for sharing it with us. It's an
We had an extra duty, off-duty officer working for Pulse nightclub in full police uniform. At about 2 o'clock, he responded to shots fired. He did engage in a gun battle with the suspect somewhere near one of the entrances. Shortly after that, additional officers responded. Those additional officers made entry while the suspect was shooting, engaged in another gun battle with the suspect, forced him to stop shooting and retreat to the bathroom where we believed he had several hostages. Based on information we received from the suspect and from the hostages and people inside, we believed further loss of life was imminent. I made the decision to commence the rescue operation and do the explosive breach. The explosive breach did not penetrate the wall completely. We used our armored vehicle, the Bearcat armored vehicle, to punch a hole in that wall and defeat the wall. The suspect came out of that hole. Himself, armed with a handgun and a long gun, engaged in a gun battle with officers where he was ultimately killed.
Walk me through the decision to breach.
Obviously, like I said, our main goal is to try to save lives. When you start talking about the bomb vest, kind of the average or the normal inclination of people is once you hear that someone has a bomb, you want to back up. And our normal protocol is to back up 1,000 feet. But my officers knew that they had to stay there, even though they were in jeopardy, because there was a chance that we can get some of those people outside. So we started thinking about, we have a good relationship with the sheriff's office here. They have an emergency or a bomb disposal unit that has the capability of creating charges to blow through a hole through a wall. So I asked them to start prepping for a charge.
What is a charge? Explain that for people who
The
don't
charge is
understand.
they kind of make it's actually explosive. They put it in a shape, and actually they'll put it on a wall, and they'll be able to blow a hole in the wall.
And is that what they did?
Yes, they did.
Which wall was it?
It was on the west side of the building. What our goal was is we knew the suspect was in the north bathroom. We knew there were some additional hostages from some of the text messages and phone calls that were given.
In an adjacent bathroom.
Right. So there was a bathroom just south of him, and we knew there were probably anywhere from 10 to 15 people in that bathroom alive. So the decision was made, hey, we need to try to get them out as quickly as possible.
So you're hearing that he's making these threats to put vests on people and put them in the four corners of the club to maximize casualties. You immediately realize we'll risk our own lives and not back up 1,000 feet because we have got to get in there and get him.
Right.
So then the explosion.
Right. They go ahead and set the charge. I get approval from the chief to go ahead and initiate our plan. They let the charge go off. The charge detonates. It's only partially effective. So it only kind of creases the wall or partially breaches the wall.
So you couldn't fully get in.
Couldn't
with the
get
first
inside
explosion.
at all. So we have a Lenco Bearcat armored vehicle, which has a ram on the front of it. And I immediately told the guys, go ahead and breach it. So they made an initial hole. They realized they were a little off mark, and it kind of put them in the hallway between two bathrooms. So the commander out on the scene, which is one of my lieutenants, immediately had the truck move, and they made a couple of other breaches where they are finally able to get a hole into the bathroom and start pulling people out.
Were people screaming at that time?
I think they were
realize what
quiet
was going
initially,
on?
and I think as we breached the hole, we're calling to them and telling, hey, come to us. So they're taking our commands and they're trying to get out.
What's the gunman doing? Obviously, he's hearing this noise.
Right at first, he's not doing anything. As he starts to realize kind of what's going on, I think he fired a couple shots.
Within the bathroom?
Either within the bathroom or outside the bathroom, that I'm not sure of yet. We threw a couple of our distraction devices in the hallway just to kind of distract him so we can finish getting all the hostages out.
Gas?
No gas, because we had people in there. Then as they were preparing to breach another part of the wall, he came out and engaged our officers.
On his own volition?
On his own volition.
So where is he exactly? I mean, is it a small, tight space where he is outside of the bathroom?
He comes out into the hallway between the two bathrooms.
How far is he from your officers?
I would have to say within probably 10 to 15 feet.
And then what?
And then they engage. He fires, they fire. And that's kind of...
That's where he was taken down?
Right.
In the hallway?
Yep. And that's kind of...
That's where he was taken down?
Right.
In the hallway?
Yep.